I would be remiss if I didn't ask somebody who spent time in Cleveland, a considerable time in Cleveland, what you think of the Browns and the last several weeks, months, with their acquisition of Deshaun Watson and then the Deshaun Watson suspension, and what this team looks like this year and moving forward. I'll give you the whole enchilada to comment on, Michael Lombardi.
Well, I mean, look, I was a huge Deshaun Watson fan coming out of Clemson. In fact, I was standing on the table that the Browns should draft him at the 12th pick, that they traded to the Houston Texans for Houston to pick Watson. And clearly that character assessment that I had at that current time hasn't looked correct at this point. And to me, to do what they did, to guarantee his full contract after the offseason and the past performance that he had, to me, I think was uncalled for. I think it really didn't set a very good precedent for the National Football League or for the other teams. And now that he's been suspended for 11 games, I think they're in the worst spot they could be. If I were the general manager in Cleveland, I would trade for Garoppolo because he runs the same offense in Cleveland as they run in San Francisco. It's the Gary Kubiak, Mike Shanahan version of the West Coast. I would put him in that place and try to win games, get a compensatory pick for him when he becomes a free agent, and then rebrand ourselves with Watson. I think, look, the Browns have not handled this correctly. I think the press conference after the suspension was announced wasn't very well done. I don't think it was well characterized by the owner, by anybody in the building. And I think, to me, the messaging that needs to occur moving forward is Watson needs to reengage. He needs to prove that all this great positive qualities that people echoed in Clemson are actually true, and get into the community and do things to help his career, to rebrand him, to show what he truly is as a person. I think that needs to take forward. For a football team, look, I think Cleveland's good. I worry about Brissett. We drafted him when I was in New England. I think Jacoby's a wonderful person. I think he's a great leader. I think he struggles to be a starting quarterback over an extended period of time, whether it was in Indianapolis or Miami. I think it's a tough spot for the Browns.
Yeah, and then two things you just said I want to just follow up on, Michael, that you think that the 11-game suspension puts the Browns in a very difficult spot. Peter King, in his Football Morning in America column today, said he learned that Roger Goodell heard from many owners saying they didn't want Watson suspended for a full year because that allows the Browns to get another year on the back end of his contract, and that it would also financially help the Browns this year, that making sure that Watson had a suspension less than a year would put the Browns in a very difficult spot. And that came from a lot of owners very upset about the way that the Browns handled his contract by guaranteeing all of it. Would you echo those sentiments? You think that's feasible, having been in many owners' rooms and meetings rooms like that, Michael?
I think there's no doubt. Every owner. In fact, my reaction to the contract when I heard it was, oh, my God, they just violated the secret code of the NFL of guaranteed contracts. Look, when I was in the league, you had to fund contracts that were skill and injury guaranteed, skill, injury, and salary cap. You had to send the future year money to the league office and put it in an escrow account. No owner wants to do that. No business wants to tie up their money out of the cash flow and put it in an escrow account. This was put in place back in the 1960s when teams were worried about folding, about not having enough money to beat payroll, when the league wasn't as solvent as it is today. And for the Browns to do this, to break that ranks for the first time in the history of the league for a quarterback that was involved in this controversy, in this many civil suits, to me, had to make everybody unhappy. And I think, to me, what Peter King reported, I didn't read it this morning, but I think there has to be some validity to it. They're upset because now how do you handle Lamar's contract without fully guaranteeing it? How do you handle, when Justin Herbert's contract comes up without fully – every contract is predicated on the last contract. Russell Wilson's sitting in Denver saying, hey, I need a new deal. Okay, I've been a good soldier here. I know we got a new owner, but I'm going to need a new deal, and I'm going to need it buttoned up just like the Deshaun Watson's deal.
Yeah, here we are. I mean, the Monday before Labor Day weekend, so we're now less than 2 weeks to the beginning of the season. Lamar Jackson's still unsigned, and that might be the case. And then the Jimmy G mention you just had, that the Browns should acquire him. Don't you think the Niners are going to have to release him? Is that a game of cat and mouse that you think is going on? What suss out the Jimmy G scenario for us, because the cut day is right here, Michael.
I reported this on my pod and do it on my show. I'm told reliably that Seattle is very interested in Jimmy G, and San Francisco knows that. And San Francisco doesn't want him to go there. They play in week 2. They really don't want to help Seattle out with their quarterback. Seattle's quarterback room is the worst in the league by far. I think everybody would agree with that. Maybe not Seattle, but most every team in the league would. And Garoppolo would go up there in the Shane Waldron offense, which is very similar to what Kyle runs. Remember, Waldron was in the Rams with Sean McVay, which is a byproduct of the Shanahan offense, and he would go up there and really lighten up their room. He would give them a future at quarterback. I don't think that's what the 49ers – they're hoping somebody else comes down the road. Now, John Lynch claims he has a trade partner. I don't see it. Ian Rappaport reported I think the other day, that he's hearing no trade. Nobody's talking. I was with a bunch of teams, and they told me there's no trades talking up with them and with the 49ers. So, yes, Rich, to answer your question, I do believe they have to release him. I think they're going to wait as long as they have to. Because, remember, right now, only the top 51 players count on the salary cap. Only the top 51. So they can get away with it right now. But once the season starts and you have to count everybody, that cap flexibility that they currently hold today won't be in place.
So they could wait till, the Friday before their opener in Chicago?
I think the Friday before, yes, they could definitely wait that. But they're really, to me, and look, let's put this perfectly in perspective. The guy in complete control of Jimmy Garoppolo currently right now is his agent, Don Yee. Because unless Don Yee renegotiates the contract, no team's taking that salary. So even though John Lynch may want to trade Garoppolo to some team, he can't do that unless really Don Yee okays a reduction, because not many people in the league have $25, $26 million of cap room to take on the contract.